Welcome to today's query folding challenge. Today is the 19th of the query folding challenge, and the instruction says to select sales order number, order date, reseller key, employee key, and a computed column Unix timestamp, which is the order date converted to its epoch Unix timestamp equivalent. We are to use the AdventureWorks database and the fact reseller sales table. So for this particular challenge, I had to look up how to convert the order date to epoch timestamp. I know I've done this in the past using SQL and using when I was writing SQL queries. I just didn't remember since it was just once that I needed to do that. But for now, let's head over to Power BI. So in Power BI, the first step as usual is to connect to your data source. For this challenge, we're using the AdventureWorks database and we are using the fact reseller sales table. Click on OK to import table. So the next step after importing the data is to select the columns that we want to use. So instead of typing out the columns, I can just go to the file where I have all the questions and just copy these columns. For today, we're not using Visual Studio. I see that Visual Studio adds to the time since I have to explain some things. I can go to Advanced Editor and open a square bracket here, then paste the columns that I've selected. And this selects all the columns that we want for us. So that was pretty fast and straightforward, no stress. Query folding is working fine. Up next, we need to add a custom column. The custom column we want to add here is the epoch Unix timestamp, right? So what I did was to do a little reading. So let me just show you what I read. It was helpful. It helped me get what I was trying to do. So since I've done this with SQL before, I just okay, let me just look it up again, and I found this article, SQL query to convert datetime to epoch. So my interest was to know what epoch data means. So it's epoch data is basically a big int number, which defines the number of seconds elapsed between the specified date time and 1st January 1970 at 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. So what I know is that I need to find the difference between the date I have in my table and this particular date. If I find a difference, then I just need to calculate the total number of seconds between these two periods. So I'm not too concerned about the implementation since I have to do this in Power Query. So let's head over to Power Query. And in case you want to read this, I'll add this in the description. Just check the description, you'll find a link to this article. So this is pretty straightforward. What we need is to find the difference between this date, the order date, and 1970, right? But remember, it has to be daytime because order date, as we see, order date here is daytime. That date too has to be daytime. So to pass that date as daytime, we have to use this function, the datetime function. So we know that the date is 1970. We know the month is January. We also know that the day is 1st January. We know that the hours is 0. We know the minute is 0 and the second is 0. So this gives us a date time, right? It gives us the difference between these two periods. You can click on OK. If you click on OK, this is going to add a new column. But the problem with the result we have here right now is that this is giving us the result in form of duration, right? It's giving us the result in form of duration, but we don't want the result in form of duration. We want the result in form of the as total number of seconds that have elapsed since this particular date. So we can go back one more step and use a duration function. We use a duration function in the previous challenges. So we have duration, there's total seconds. So we want to calculate total number of seconds. Wrap this up and click on OK. Now we have the total number of seconds that has elapsed. So we've been able to do that. So this solves our problem. What we just need to do here is look at the data type for this column. We can specify the data type. We want the data type to be int64 type. Yeah, int64. That's correct. And finally, we just need to change the name of the column. So to change the name of the column, we can go back to the file and just copy column name and go back to Power Query and change the name from custom to Unix timestamp. And with this, we've been able to solve the problem. And oh, one more thing, we need to confirm that query folding is working fine. And great, query folding is still enabled, it's still working fine. And we've been able to solve today's challenge. So it's pretty straightforward, simple, and easy. So because if you don't know the what's it called, the duration, the total seconds function, you may have to start wondering about how to convert hours to second to do a lot of stuff. Yeah, but this is really cool and makes our life and job easy. So I believe with that we've been able to solve, yeah, we solved the challenge. It's pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple. So thank you for following along. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like the video. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section and I'll respond to them. Share the video with your friends. Thank you. See you tomorrow.